Chapter 10, Enforcement and Action Procedures. Section 10.1, General Information. The PHMSA Enforcement Procedures for Preparation and Initiation of Civil Penalty Enforcement or other actions that are found in Title 49 CFR Part 107 Subpart D and Section 107.301-339 include all sections of 107.310 as ticketing program, which is discussed as detailed in Chapter 14. This chapter is the operation manual and will focus on the involvement of enforcement processes. Section 2, 10.2. Compliance orders civil penalties. PHMSA, Associate Administrator of Hazardous Material Safety, AHMS, the Office of Chief Counsel, PHS, have authority to take action in knowing violations, hazardous material regulations. The AHMS has the authority to issue warning letters and tickets and delegate authority to the OHME. The PHC has the authority to issue the compliance orders and or civil penalties. Notice of probable violation. If following inspection under the circumstances of OHME believes the person has committed substantive and serious violation of regulation, OHME refers to the violation to the PHC for action either to initiate the proceeding to assess the penalties to seek remedy. PHC receives a case referral, assigns it to an attorney. An attorney in most cases will contact you and confirm with you the case asking questions, clarifying issues, perhaps asking for additional information or other documentation. You will cooperate with PHC attorneys. You should and commit OHME enforcement officers regarding any issue concerning the process. And after reviewing clarification of the referral package, the attorney prepares the issue notice of probable violation, the NOPV, the basic document used by PHMSA to bring civil penalty enforcement action. The NOPV provides information of the violation, maximum penalties authorized, and penalties proposed by PHMSA. It will also contain a handout describing the course of action available to the recipient of the NOPV, known in procedure as the respondent in the NOPV, and propose a compliance order to the NOPV, including a statement and proposed action to be taken in response and respondent to achieve the compliance. Note that the violations at this point are all allegations and the penalties is only proposed. The case could still be modified or even withdrawn in subsequent facts where respondents have 30 days to respond to the NOPV and have three choices: pay the penalty, submit an informal response, request a formal hearing before administrative law judge, the ALJ, and if respondent pays of paying a penalty, you have no further involvement in the case, which is closed by the PHC, and request ALJ hearings will be discussed by subsection 10.23, and respondent elects to submit an informal response. Or respondent may submit a written response to PHC, request informal or conference or both, and if written informal response submitted by an attorney will provide a copy to you for evaluation input. They will normally accomplished by the VIA email or telephone call. Section 10.2.2, Conference. An informal conference is scheduled with you. An attorney should arrange to talk about it in advance. You will go over any major issues that might arise. Informal conferences are usually conducted over the telephone. Occasionally they will be conducted face-to-face. The attorney is the moderator of the internal informal conference and shall lead the discussion. You are presented to provide factual statements about the inspection itself and address and statements made by respondents about inspections or any other matter in which you are aware. You and your attorney will conduct a post-conference debriefing to go over the conference and any issue needing resolution. Section 10.2.3, Administrative Law Judge Hearings. In response to the request of the ALJ hearing, the PHC will determine whether or not alleged violations, regulatory or other issues involved in the case warranting the time and expense of formal hearing, whether or not there is an issue in legal interpretation which requires decision making on formal request services of ALJ. PHC will attempt to resolve the issues informally. If they cannot be accomplished, the PHC will request an ALJ, and parties will prepare for hearing. Your role is in a hearing is largely the same in an informal conference, except for that you may be called to appear as a witness for the government and testify under oath. In the event a hearing is scheduled, an attorney shall inform you of what you need to do. Section 10.2.4. The following Section 10.2.4 order. Following evaluation of an informal response to information provided in an informal conference and testimony in an ALJ case, order will be issued formally finding that the violation have not occurred, assessing the civil penalty or compliance order, and order issued is informal process issued by the chief counsel. Following a formal hearing, order is issued as the ALJ responded to alternative response in order to pay an appeal in the decision. You are involvement in the case, and it concludes the issuances and an order. Section 10.2.5. Appeal. Respondent may elect an appeal and order. The appeal and directorate of the PHMSA administrator in the case of order is issued by ALJ. PHMSA may also appeal the decision. A case involving an appeal order will be assigned to an attorney in the PHC other than the attorney who handled the case up to the order, and the attorney represents the administrator and conducts an independent review of the entire case file. You will be only involved in, if any, appeal if requested by PHC. If responded in challenging material fact issue related inspection, other material will be directed to involved inspector other than PHC will provide OHME an informal copy of the respondent's appeal. The administration decision is appealed and called in action to appeal. The administration may hold up an orderly meeting, modify and abstain and eliminate violation, reduction and assess and penalty, and may dismiss entirely, and if not dismissed, the respondent only an option under the regulation in response to the administration decision to pay the penalty. Section 10.3. The criminal penalties. From time to time you may encounter a situation which involves a very serious violation of the regulations, apparent willful intent on the part of the violator. In such situations, PHMSA and discretion of the initiated criminal investigation. However, since you do not have criminal investigative authority, PHMSA requires the request involvement of the Department of Transportation Inspector General. OHME or the PHC management will work together to decide on the course of action. Criminal investigation. You will participate in development of action plans and will receive instruction regarding how to proceed. Section 10.4. Injunctive action. The PHMSA administrator may see a relief Department of Justice for the person engaged in engaging in any acts involving a violation of the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law regulations issued thereunder. The relief could be in the form of the mandatory prohibited injunction relief, interim equitable relief, and upon punitive damages. Relief of this type must be often sought when the PHC determines that the substantial likelihood of that death, serious injury, or serious illness or serious personal injury will result in the transportation of particular hazardous materials container, such as a situation usually termed an imminent hazardous situation. Relief could be sought by prior to the other action proceeding to the risk of harm situation. You should be alerted during the field activities of the possibility of such events and report to supervisors immediately that they believe in such situation to exist. The PHC, OHME, and management to provide guidance, direction as necessary in event of such a situation procedures for removal of non-conforming packaging from services. When non-conforming packaging is identified, including during the course of inspection investigation, OHME will collect available data of the manufacturing process and perform the packaging and consulting the official parts as with material technology of the OHMT of the official chief counsel PHCC. The official chief counsel PHC. OHME will make an initial assessment of hazards and risk presented. Assessment of hazardous and risk presented by non-conforming packaging using criteria in section 10.51. Should inadequate information be available to make an initial assessment of the OHME, will request alleged violators to take immediate action to develop information necessary to make an assessment of the hazardous risk presented in a non-conforming package. At minimum such actions must be included testing and random samples of the non-conforming packaging, analysis and potential variance in packaging properties and performances based on initial assessment of hazardous risk OHME, determining the appropriate action that will be taken by the following. If any imminent hazard exists, i.e. there is a substantial probability that the death series will occur if frequent work or public exposure to hazardous materials or frequent packaging failures, OHME will request immediately action by the alleged violator to remove the packaging from the surface other than the action ameliorative to the hazard presented by the suspecting the package or by the suspect package. By PHC will initiate under Section Title 49 U.S.C. Codes 5122 of the Federal Hazard Math Law is necessary to eliminate or ameliorate the imminent hazard. In appropriate publications about the defective packaging it deemed necessary to protect the public, and final OHME will initiate appropriate enforcement action through the PHC as described below in paragraph 2 and 3. 2. If the lesser exists, OHME will request the alleged violator to take appropriate time corrective to such action may include additional analysis testing to determine the nature and extent of the program, costs, consequences, actions, including removal of packaging from the surface, retrofitting, derating, and operational controls, notification of customers, publication of federal registers, other publications determined on a case-by-case basis. OHME will initiate appropriate enforcement action of the PHC. May include compliance with under section 109 of the Federal Hazard Math Law, withdrawal of an exemption, and if applicable. 3. If very minimal or no hazard exists, OHME will initiate appropriate action through the PHC. Section 10.5, the assessment guidelines for non-conforming packages. Based upon the type of non-compliance consequences. I repeat, Section 2.51